Hey guys, it's Julie here and I'm back to whack some of you that need whacking. On this channel, I do commentary and most times I focus on issues surrounding natural hair and beauty. I try my best to keep it real. So today, I'm going to be talking about an issue that has been plaguing my soul. Yes, it's the issue of the lace front babies. I've seen what self-hating texturist women who come from a generation that didn't have lace wigs growing up have become, and I shudder to think of what little girls and actual babies who grew up wearing lace front wigs will be like as adults. How would they teach their own kids to care and like their hair if they never got that chance? What kind of ignorant abomination would they be out here spewing about natural hair in a few years? What does it say about us that watched this happen and cheered from the sidelines? Now, I touched briefly on the epidemic of the lace front babies in my video titled Don't Bring Your Natural Hair to My Events. I'm pretty sure you can click to watch after this video. But I realized I need to do an in-depth video covering this issue on its own. And honestly, this video has been long overdue. There is something weird about wearing a wig for your toddler, but there is something even more diabolical about gluing a wig, or yeah, let's be politically correct, installing a frontal on your literal baby. I think it's unhealthy, disturbing, and reprehensible. There are so many reasons as to why a frontal on a kid is just a bad idea, but before I break it down for you, I'll say this. Saying things like there is no such thing as a grown-up style for a kid is disingenuous as well as a blatant fucking lie. When people say that kid looks too grown or the dress is too grown, I see the outrage about how sexualizing a child is on the predator and not the child. And I agree, no one should look at a child and go, oh, she looks too adult, no matter what she's wearing. And there are more graphic ways that sentence is put, but they are just too gross to be repeated. But you get my point. If you ever looked at the way a child is dressed and wanted to do something to them, turn yourself in and then use the ceiling fan and a rope to perform tricks in there. I mean it. Now, I will say there are certain things that are inappropriate for kids. If I have a kid, I wouldn't want them swearing or having an adult swearing around them. I wouldn't want them going outside undressed because of the kind of world we now live in. I also wouldn't want them watching certain shows. That being said, while I don't agree with the kid is too grown sentence because of the unspoken agreement that what happens to a kid that looks too grown is the kid's or the parent's fault, I do agree that certain things are inappropriate for children for different reasons. I think any reasonable person can admit that. I feel we should get that out of the way because I know and I'm expecting that in a bid to defend the honor of their lace wigs, certain people might imply that I'm saying that kids who wear wigs are inviting trouble. It's actually far from that for me and hardly has anything to do with that. I've made a video in the past titled Why Black Women Hair Won't Grow, where I talked about how certain hairstyles we're introduced to as toddlers and teens ruin our chances of growing healthy. We now have women in their 20s, 30s, 40s and above just now restarting their hair journey again and trying to figure things out because the foundation was not laid for them. But now it seemed like what is being laid are the 6 inches long edges on these baby girls. I can't lie, I thought this new generation would at least be given a fighting chance, but it seems to have taken a more dysphoric turn. There are way too many tutorials and viral posts of kids getting what I like to call a scalp transplant, aka lace fronts, and it's usually one race of women doing that, and that's very telling. And you can say, well, it's my kid, allow women do what they want, and pretend all you want like it's not a deeper issue. The same way you pretended like you never feeling confident to leave the house without a wig that is nowhere similar to your own natural hair texture isn't a bigger issue. But that's okay. That's okay. Now, like I said, there are so many reasons why wearing a lace front for your little black girl tells the tale of a bigger issue. And there is largely both psychological and physical reasons as to why this shouldn't be as rampant as it is, or why we should nip this in the bud, so I'll list them. I'm of the idea that you need to leave your toddler and kids' hair alone till their scalps are at least fully formed. You guys inflict pain on your children for no reason. Beauty is pain is such a crazy statement to make in regards to a child. You are breaking that child's spirits before the world even gets a chance to try, when you should be building her up and empowering her because the world will definitely try to break her spirit. A child's hair should be in strictly low tension hairstyles while growing up so as to foster a healthy scalp for healthy flourishing hair. You destroy the chances of your girls having good hair and good relationships with their hair, then go on to make statements like, black people are just cursed with short hair, or my fussy hair is ugly. It's just because your mom never tried, and now you're doing the same to your daughter, and she may well go on to do the same to her daughter. When I talk about hair, or when I receive compliments about how my hair is thick or full, and I'm asked how I got it so, and I start to explain, the same person who just asked me would oftentimes cut me short and say, well, I can do all that, but it's just genes. You have long hair genes. No one in my family has long hair, so I can't even have that. Now, this is a fair assessment that no one in your family has long hair. But I beg you, before you go on to accuse me of selling you the impossible, which is an African woman with big afro, I guess, ask yourself what your relationship with your hair was like growing up. I'm referencing this video again because it's one of the favorite ones I've made so far. I really go in depth to talk about how many of us had our chances of growing healthy hair ripped out as kids or teens, and how we're still going on to do it in our adult years. And I believe that video was such a healing session for many of the women that participated in the Q&A. So definitely watch that if you haven't watched it yet. Back to what I was saying. When you grow up having such heavy and intense hairstyles like tight braids and glue on your hairline, and you're crying your lungs out at the salon, it's not exactly a recipe for healthy hair or healthy relationship with one's hair. Many become filled with scorn, shame, and anxiety when it comes to dealing with their own hair textures. And I believe the lace front is a new tap out for many young mothers who don't want their kids to go through the same shame and pain that they went through dealing with their own hair textures growing up. Seeing silky straight hairs on their daughters provides some twisted sort of validation. When I was growing up, we were dependent on relaxers. Leaving your hair in its natural state was barely an option because people were so undereducated about it. The natural hair movement sort of exploded when I was just finishing secondary school. And even then, many people here in Nigeria had no idea natural hair could even grow. It's a deeply ingrained mindset. It's not just down to long and short hair genetics. It's a cultural thing of not laying proper foundation for our hairs to thrive, of not passing down knowledge of how to care for our unique hair textures. Many of us had discolored, deadish looking, overly processed, stagnant hair, I included, till I decided no more relaxers and to take proper care of my hair. Yes, there is usually that one person who has an abundance of hair even though they didn't do anything to care for it specifically. But that's hardly the case with many women with long natural hair today. Like I said, many women are just restarting their journey. Many have lifelong hair damage from chemicals, poor hair care, and things like that, but many are also able to regrow their hairs afresh. Now, where we had an over-dependence on relaxers, we are now kicking off an over-dependence on lace fronts in this new generation. The issue of covering one's natural hair when it's time for special occasions like birthdays, weddings, graduation, and things like that can leave one believing that their hair texture is not good enough. Just recently, I had some simpleton in my comments talking about, girl, just do your hair. Of course, they had no pictures on their page, but wanted to come talk slick in mine. Now, that statement in of its own is usually born out of not liking your hair when it's not been manipulated to look the closest it can to Caucasian or Asian hair. Setting your kids up for that does no good to them in the long run. Who knows, they might end up fooling in a random comment section demanding for a stranger to get their hair done while they are staying neglected under a crusty wig. The process of getting a lace front can be long, grueling, and harmful, even for adults. Have you seen how a frontal is installed? I once accompanied my friend to get one, and we spent over 5 hours blow drying, flat ironing, curling, gluing, and then plucking. It's a whole journey. These kids don't need glue on their hairlines or skins. Your kid doesn't need a blow dryer blowing hot hair in her face or running the risk of being burnt with hot iron. Your kids sure do not need their edges being laid. Y'all gonna have your 7-year-olds out here with receding hairlines. There is no other race that does this like it's normal. When I see these TikTok vendors that sell kids frontals, a crazy concept mind you, there are so many women begging to buy. Although they are from different parts of the world, they all have one thing in common. Yeah, I'll let you take a wild guess. Also, can we move on to the topic of lace fronts as a status symbol? Lace fronts are trendy now. I've seen all kinds. Some I wish I hadn't. Some make me envy those who cannot see, and some feel illegal the way they look like an entire person's scalp sitting on yours. I've seen it all. But when closure wigs and weaves went out of style or became not as popular or as sensational as lace fronts, these frontals became a status symbol. If you can claim and make us believe that your wig is real and original human hair, great. If you can convince us that it came from the head of an impoverished 19-year-old in the Philippines, it has even more value. Ironically, mothers or parents have been known for wanting to flaunt their wealth and status through their kids. When I see these mothers force their screaming babies to get wigs glued down on their heads, I know it's more about how the expensive wigs on their children make them feel, not the kids, them. Because babies are just happy to be playing with not a care in the world. They don't care if their edges are not laid. Many kids are okay with their hair being washed and put in a bun so they can go on their merry way. But the moms don't want it to reflect back at them, usually when it comes to their kids' appearance. So in this case, a frontal on a child is a way to ensure that people know that she and her baby are eating good. The social hierarchy of it all, or should I say, hierarchy. Yes, I made this entire video just so I could say that. I'm so serious. I know y'all like to say, it's giving scalp, but respectfully, it's not. It never gave scalp. It's giving Persian rug. It's giving fishing nets. It's giving worn out leather couch, but most of the times, it's not giving scalp because it's not scalp. I can see where the skin ends and the fabric begins. I don't see the point to this. No offense, but your kids kind of look ridiculous with these styles on their head, and if you weren't so blinded by your worshipping of looser or straight textured hair, you'll see how laid, extravagant edges and very obvious laces on your daughters look impractical and funny. Like I've said before, it's kind of rare to see a frontal that actually is undetectable in real life, no matter how expensive. And when it starts to lift in the heat, quite frankly, they are really high maintenance even for adults and a waste of time for kids. The maintenance of a lace wig is unrealistic for a child. If you don't put that baby's hair in some pigtails and leave her be. I think that tight hairstyles in general is just a bad idea for kids. A regular wig on a child in itself is wild. Kids would wear their mom's wigs back in the days or their mom's heels for fun, and everybody would laugh about it, and moms would take pictures and post on their Facebook because it was just too adorable and funny. But there used to be this idea that it was for fun because it was an adult thing. Now moms are willfully taking their babies, their literal babies, to the salon for an install. It's like making stilettos for 6-year-olds. Even for adults, those shoes can be torture devices. We have to be for real. There is no reason your kid should have a wig on except in really, really specific situations that I'm not even going to get into because y'all love to use that excuse. Oh, but what if she has a terminal illness and only a wig would make her happy? What if a lace front was a final wish? Like, okay, I'm not talking about that, am I? Moms are projecting their own insecurities on their kids. I've seen posts of women who gave birth to kids with looser hair textures and decided to make it everyone's problem. Oh, my baby hair looks like a white girl. Oh, I'm glad she didn't inherit my hair texture. Oh, her hair looks better than your daughter's. The thing is, most of these babies wouldn't be getting these installs if they had loose 3A hairs. No, the moms would be posting pictures of them with snarky captions. And that's something I'm going to have to get into another day. Many moms have given up on their own hairs and are obsessed with their kids looking like what they wished they came out looking like. And I think it's damn sad. You are putting your kids through torture for them to end up having some Peruvian silky growing out of a crusty lace sitting on top of a bald cap that is sitting on top of their own neglected hairs. They will grow up associating straight hair as superior and be like Sexy Red who got a silk press and started flexing her hair, talking about some "you carpet hair hoes could never." What do you mean, babe? You were a carpet hair hoe like 30 minutes ago. Please. Listen, I just think the change starts with you. If you think short hair genetics run in your family, try properly caring for your kids' hair first. Doing weekly washes and low tension hairstyle, using the proper products for her hair, and see if her hair doesn't grow all her life. Let's put the relaxers, hot combs, blame games and lace fronts down for a minute and actually see what is in front of us. So on that note, I will end this video and I hope they made a little bit of a difference. Please do not send hate to any of the creators of the videos posted. The videos posted were strictly for educational purposes, and if you've made it so far into this video, thank you so much. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye bye.